Joining me in the studio to talk about all of these and make sense of them on all of these security challenges we've been reporting. We have in the studio security consultant Dixon Osagie. It's nice to have you, Dixon. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr.
Great. And we also have here public affairs analyst and social commentator Smart Akpejoye. Smart, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Great. All right, Dixon, I'm going to start with you. It's been a sad week, I must say,
very
especially
sad.
From the events in Kaduna, the bombing of the train. Some people are still missing, some dead, and others very traumatized, because it is only the person who is in that state that would understand
the pain,
what one goes through.
Yeah, correct.
We all, if you liken that to the NSAS, experience in Lagos, a lot of us were involved in situations like that. Some people have never recovered. But what do you make of this? You listened to the vice president, you heard the minister of transport, talking about what needed to be done and all of that. Nigerians expect that. How many years ago? We should have done this like 100 years ago.
Oh, Mr. Mike,
using that as an...
Mr. Mike, like you rightly said, it's a disturbing situation. You understand? I listened to the Minister of Transportation. I laughed. I also listened to the Vice President. I also laughed. We take insecurity, so it's unfortunate we're not putting the right thing when it comes to security. We've not placed premium on human lives. The day we start placing premium on human lives, placing priority on human lives, then we will not be experiencing such kind of attacks. Within 6 weeks, we had an attack at the Kaduna train station. We had an attack at the local airport. That tells you that these guys are defeating our physical protection system. So sad that I heard the Minister of Transportation saying that the process in acquiring the integrated security system is disturbing. I'm worried because the guys that were contracted to develop or build this rail line are professionals, and that means that there was an absence in security integration, because sometimes we just award contracts to people. We keep awarding contracts, sometimes maybe people that are not qualified, and there are no proper security design. You can't build a national infrastructure that will accommodate Nigerians without integrating security design. Integrating security design is a process in which you put in all mechanisms in place that will forestall an attack like this. The whole essence of physical security is to ensure the criminal element does not succeed in its activities. At worst scenario, that criminal element must be delayed. Where are the delayed mechanism? It's not there. Where are the surveillance mechanism? It's not there. You release billions of naira to develop a rail line without integrated security surveillance. They say, no, Mr. Mike. I expected him to just resign. But the truth here is that nobody resigned in our country because we don't have value for human lives.
All right. Smart. The point is, this is not the first, second, third, fourth, or even fifth attack on rail tracks one way or the other. We've had this report so many times. Besides that, the one on the Abuja-Kaduna road, not the rail now, the road itself, that in fact it seems people are so used to the reports on that road that is a no-go area when it comes to reporting and talking. There's nothing new about it in the minds of people. But what do you make of this, where these bandits or unknown gunmen, they attack, they always, go away with disrupting the system, disrupting something before they leave. And they leave and then we don't have an arrest, we don't have all of those.
Mike, it is very sad that when I had this yesterday morning, and again, maybe later in the day again, the one the minister was also involved in. Mike, the simple truth is that we are not doing what we are supposed to do. It is very, very disheartening that today, at this present advancement, 21st century, when we have drones, is a long stretch, for goodness sake. Yeah. Are you saying on that long stretch we cannot have a drone that will hover around that area intermittently and do a reconciled report, assessment, and before probably to a military base? Are you saying that we cannot do that? What is the stretch of that road, for goodness sake? That we cannot have a drone that will cover that area.
The corridor.
That corridor is just a long stretch. Just like whenever you talk about this Abuja Kaduna, people abandon Kaduna Abuja road. I know of so many people that have died, even top military officers with convoy that have been shot on that road. Now they abandoned that place. Now took to rail, and you are saying that now the rail was even bombed. Look at this innocent medical doctor. She said, I'm in the train. I've been shot. Please pray for me. She invariably gave up her life. This is one that is too much. We cannot continue to live our life like this, for goodness sake. Now, just on Saturday, the attempt was made at the airport. Even though it was not very successful, attempt was made. Then it was covered up. Again, almost less than a week again, less than a few days again. Now look at this train. This thing now. This is one that is now. Where would we go through now? Our airports perhaps is not safe. Our roads are not safe. Now the road is not safe. What do we do as a nation? You see, it will continue to thrive. This insecurity will continue because the federal government has failed to do what they are supposed to do. Do you know up to today, nobody, are we saying that we have not carried out a due diligence and investigation that we show that these are the sponsors of these bandits? That none of them has been, none of them.
Government said they identified about 400.
Government told us that they have identified about 400. We've not heard anything about them. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, profile about some people, release some, and the 6 were convicted. Today, America have sanctioned those 6, and yet the Nigerian that is involved have not done anything. No, this is sad. We cannot continue to live our life like this. We cannot, and yet this seems not to even bother anybody. They are bothered about zoning. They are bothered about politicizing. They are bothered about positioning themselves for 2023. When even presently 2022 is not safe. For how long will we continue this?
Right. Now, Dixon, the point there is, recall too that just a few days ago, there was an attack on the police station in Imo State. And it took the courage and resilience of the police officers to repel the unknown gunmen. Unknown gunmen. In fact, they started having an acronym, UGM, unknown gunmen. You know, the point there is, you mentioned earlier that these people are defeating the physical security system of Nigeria. I had to write it down the way you put it. If you look at it, if you assess these things, of course, throw your mind back to the attack on NDA, to the police formation, to military bases and all of that. General, what do you see that is going on? Because from the north to the east to part, they keep succeeding somehow, if I have to put it that way.
Mr. Mike,
what do you see as
please, don't allow me to throw my mind back. You know, if you allow me to throw my mind back in what is happening in Nigeria, it's very, very disheartening, and it's really going to affect my psychological reasoning, because I don't believe, like my colleague rightly said, in this 24th century, where we have modernized equipment, sophisticated technology, that our country should apply or project. A mitigating risk like this is not being applied. When I say that the physical protection system of our security has been defeated, you know, sometimes we just think that the military might can defeat security. There's nowhere in the world military might can defeat security, even till eternity. Projection of security has to do with people, procedure, and technology. Those are the 3 components of physical protection system. The people comprises of the security agents, the security guard, the police, the procedures, are the access control, and every other thing that needed to be put in place to ensure that processes are followed, policies and procedures are followed. Then the surveillance equipment, which has to do with the technology, because when the people formation fails, the technology should not fail. If the technology fails, then the last process of physical protection system should not fail. But here we have them defeat the people, defeat the processes, and defeat the technology. It's not done anywhere in the world. And that is why the essence of this physical protection system is to deter the criminal, is to delay this criminal, and also, you know, to disperse this criminal. Because if you don't have delay mechanism, for example, before I get access into these premises, I pass through about 2, 3, 4, 5 doors. Let me mention the numbers, because those doors are what we call delay mechanism, so that it will not give access quickly to these criminal elements. The attack that happened in Imo State, like you rightly said, it keeps on happening because we've failed to go before the laws. You know, security is for you to go before the laws. Security is defeated each time you don't go before the laws, because sometimes we have response mechanism. No, that's not security. If you want to achieve an effective security, you need to be reactive. You need to be proactive. You need to have response mechanism in place. But this time, what we have here in our country, we always respond after the occasion of crime. When you respond after the occasion of crime, security has been defeated, because the whole essence of security is the protection of lives and property and the freedom from danger in totality. But here, these criminal guys, what they succeeded in doing is to inflict fear. And when fear is being inflicted in Nigerians, security has been defeated. So for me, I don't see the reason why. I think we need to look at our national intelligence. Our national intelligence needs to be overhauled, because the reason why we have an intelligence agency is to access the criminal information, is to go into this criminal camp and get hold of their plan and feed us back. But here, our intelligence system is very, very poor. We don't have effective intelligence. We're even getting intelligence from abroad. Just like we're talking about the 6 guys that were sanctioned by the Americans. What have we done here in the country? Because if we don't look at our administration of criminal justice system effectively, whereby we will be able to project punishment. Punishment is beautiful, you know. I say that often, because if you don't punish people for crime committed or for crime they commit, crime will flourish. Crime has been flourishing in Nigeria simply because this criminal element believe that our administration of criminal justice system is very weak. When you take someone to the court, at the next time you see this person giving thanks or giving praise to God that, hey, matter has been charged to court, because that's where they find their solace. So if we have an effective punishment mechanism where guys are being, criminal elements are being punished for crime they commit, and also our security agents should start looking at vulnerability analysis. Carry out crime mapping, for God's sake. Look at what's happening at our airports. Are you telling me that we cannot fly? We cannot go by road. We cannot go by air. It's not possible for me to disappear. I came here by
exactly. There must be a means of transportation. Yeah,
there must be a means, Mike.
All right, now, Smart. The point there is, he said that there's nowhere in the world that military might defeat, you know, insecurity and all of that, which is something everyone actually would agree. But the people element that we're talking about, the engagement, because along some of those routes, there are people, there are villages, sometimes there are people who live, although we know there are some places that are very secluded and lonely, but besides that, there are people, villages and, you know, towns close to those areas. What roles do people like that have to play in all of these?
Mike, he talked about technology, which equally I've also mentioned earlier on. You see, it is very easy. First, if we have a drone that covers that area, that is technology. Probably if drone flies at every distance, the drone could have a scanner that will scan, even that will scan that will scan the rail track. All these things are done abroad. We don't know, we don't see it because of the fact that, look, it is not very visible to the eyes, but these are the things that are done. I traveled in a train from somewhere central London to almost somewhere very Southampton, Salisbury, after Southampton. In the train, I'm so comfortable. I'm browsing, I'm doing everything. I'm using the Wi-Fi in the train. You can even see that, of course, that there are some things that goes ahead of the train. Those are security scanners. For goodness sake, there are methods. Nigerians travel abroad. All our leaders, all our rulers, they travel abroad. They see all these things. Are you saying we cannot replicate the same thing here? Now, that cardinal route is perhaps one of the most lucrative rail routes today in Nigeria, followed by the Lagos-Ibadan. Today, you have put fear on that distance. How many people want to travel by rail? This government has spent so much on rail. Now, the rail now, for the next, I'm sure for the next 1 month now, perhaps nobody will travel on that rail line because of the fact that they're going to carry out some repair. And on the Abuja Cardinal route. So that means the income we are supposed to make from there now will be stopped. That's another problem. Now, looking at it again, there are some villages in these places. Are you saying from these villages we cannot get some of these boys, some of these young men in this village to act as security informants?
Agents.
For goodness sake, look, sometimes when I talk about this cardinal routes, before it used to be a delight that, oh, you're in Abuja, you probably want to quickly go to Kaduna and come back. But now nobody does that again. I've done that before. I was in Abuja. I just said, okay, me and my friends say, okay, let's go to Kaduna. And maybe later in the evening, we start driving back to Abuja. But nobody wants to do that again. That would become, it is again, we have so many villages, so many towns on that route. They are not making use of, they're not making use of intelligent gathering.
Yeah, like you said, the point there is, if the transport system is very efficient, sometimes you just want to dash there, do a little few things, and then come back. I remember when I came, some time ago, they told me about the Ibadan Amala. By the way, they say Ibadan has the best Amala. So I and a few friends, we just had to drive to Ibadan just to take Amala and come back to Lagos. That was that time, not now.
You cruise down.
We had to just drive to, but
just like in Abeokuta, they have one of the best Ofada. Go there to take Ofada, and so sometimes I used to do from my office in K2.
Okay.
I would drive to Abeokuta just to buy Ofada rice and come back. But I can't do that again.
Nobody does that anymore.
The risk implication is
exactly,
high.
It's quite high. So, but Dixie, the point there is, let's understand if this continues the way it is, because it's been several years of consistent reports of various attacks from different, at different places, different parts of the country. Nigerians are listening. Nigerians are experiencing it. Nigerians are witnessing it. They are falling victims here and there. There's so many families who have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incidences and so on. Schools. What is the long implication of all of this on the Nigerian psyche generally? What do you think? Because we're supposed to give off some of our allegiance or some, part of our, to the government. What happens to the trust that we're going to have, or Nigerians are going to have in the system?
No trust, Mike. There's no trust. In a group chat yesterday, when this incident transpired, the train attack, somebody was posted in the group that, what are you guys doing in that zoo? And that's why we're experiencing mass exodus of our youth out of this country. Because, to be very honest, we've been failed. Our leaders have failed us. Our security agents have failed us. Because the primary purpose of governance is the protection of lives and property. If you don't succeed in that primary purpose, I think you need to take a departure from your office. 2023 is around the corner. I will not vote for any person or any leader that does not have a security plan. We need to have an effective national security plan. Mike, security is achievable because Nigeria is not the biggest country in the world. We have some bigger countries that are well developed and security-wise, they are grounded. The reason why we are not grounded is because a lot of people have taken the vulnerability of our security agents and are exploiting that vulnerability, because your vulnerability is my opportunity. Now, these criminal elements that are attacking our rail lines, our airport, our our highway, have left us with no other option than to disappear. And I don't think it's possible for me to disappear. So I need to fly by road, air, or sea. If the road system, transportation system is not effective, and we keep on experiencing such kind of attack, it's going to affect the mental well-being of our citizens. It's going to affect the psychological well-being of our citizens, and that is why most of these guys decide to leave this country to go and seek for greener pasture. I was speaking to a friend of mine. Some of these guys that went to seek greener pasture in Ukraine are falling back to Nigeria. You see, it's double tragedy. So for me, I think what our government needs to start doing is to place premium on security. Carry out a risk and vulnerability analysis of all our trade line. Carry out a security crime mapping. You know, you cannot attack a crime without carrying out a crime mapping. You need to know the vulnerable areas. You need to know the dark spots. You know, like this Kaduna Express Road. I grew up in Kaduna. I joined the Nigerian military, Kaduna, Zaria, and in Kaduna State harbors the highest military.
It's like the military security headquarters of Nigeria.
In Kaduna, and if these guys have to leave Kaduna to other states, that means the state is gone. So for me, I think, and I so believe that the military is overwhelmed because they've overstretched themselves. The government should start looking at employing more hands so that we'll be able to attack these threats.
All right. Now, Smart, shortly before we go, the point there is, I wonder what, you just got back from the UK. I wonder how people outside Nigeria, those who are not Nigerians, I wonder how they view Nigeria. The point there is, Nigeria has been the leader of the entire continent. There were issues in Congo. We were there to quell the issue. There were issues in São Tomé and Príncipe. We quelled it. There were issues in Sierra Leone. There were issues in Liberia, Gambia, Central African Republic. Nigeria was always there. Nigeria has always been there. There are issues in Mali. Nigeria has always been there. But right now we have our issues where all of these countries look up to Nigeria, how Nigeria is going to lead the continent moving forward. Recall that Nigeria is still seeking a permanent seat in the Security Council of the United Nations. How do all of these people, with all of this happening, how do they view Nigeria?
You see, I keep saying that as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria, we have the best of military personnel. When they go out, they excel. Why are they not excelling here? Do you know? Lack of political will, number one. Number two is the fact that we have obsolete equipment. There are things that technology will do that it will take perhaps 100 military men to do that, but just technology will just do that within a split of minutes, and then the military will back up. That's why you see, it's just like if you do an air surveillance, and you say that, okay, this place, at least we are seeing some movement here. Now the ground troop move.
You're precise.
So the ground troop move because you see, you will get a precise information. But for goodness sake, where that is not done, and again, we are not punishing all these sponsors of all this banditry and criminals. We are not punishing them.
Dixon says so.
It took us a very long time to even designate the terrorists. They call them bandits before they are designated as terrorists.
In fact, it was a court that
and it was even a court that even gave that order.
Yeah.
And even up to now, what has been done? How many of these criminals have been publicly said, look, prosecuted? Let them bring them out. They are sponsors. How many of them have been? They have 400 over a year up to this moment. Out of the 400.
All right. We have to leave it here now. The point there is we look forward to greater days ahead, one way or the other. Smart Akwejoye, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Dixon Osaje, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Mike.
And happy married life. He just wedded recently.
Wow,
it's really amazing.
Thank you.
Our regards to your lovely wife.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the coverage.
All right.